30 people now standing around us, and they're up against 80 armed officers, a helicopter, 2 SWAT units. Scenes like this peppered throughout Beaver Creek. Look at this huge tree just ripped straight from its roots, and so much debris absolutely everywhere. I'm standing out in the middle of 4th Street because they have it closed down. It's been closed down since 1 o'clock this afternoon when this collapse occurred. This barge that was heading upriver towards Cincinnati apparently came into contact with the Ludlow Bromley Yacht Club. This fire started at about 10:35 this morning. You can see it's still very much involved. Black and white smoke pluming into the sky right now. Whether it is a water pipe or rolling papers, you will no longer have to wink and tell people, hey, it's just for tobacco. I didn't put on a jacket today. It is just gorgeous, but I think there might be something wrong with my phone. It keeps saying December 26th on it. I have to tell you something. The weather here, so gorgeous. People were out skiing today in t-shirts and shorts.
You could hear the sirens right there.
Yeah, Central.
This is, I think, in front of the Hamilton County Justice Center or near there. David, is that you?
David, what are you seeing? What is this?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So right now, that was just a large contingent of police officers, obviously. We're down at the jail right now. We had heard some of the protesters were heading this way, but I'll tell you, it would be very, very difficult for them to get here because the police have this so well blocked off. They were blocked off at Sycamore and they were blocked off at Main along Central. So there was just no way that the protesters could get in here if this is where they were headed. Obviously, there's still a lot of police around with a lot of tactical gear. You have a lot of different jurisdictions that are taking care of this. You have sheriffs that are right behind me. That was CPD that just went past. Helicopter flying over. There's a lot of attention being paid to this area, but apparently there is no one here for them to pay attention to.
Well, there's obviously a lot of police presence, other members of the media in the area where you are right now, but can you see any protesters, or are they kind of gone home for the night at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say they've gone home for the night, but they're definitely not in this area. Okay, the police are advancing right now. And that banging you hear is their batons against their shields. Obviously, that's meant to intimidate. That's meant to tell these protesters that they mean business. And you could tell it was only going to be a matter of time before the police said, hey, enough is enough. We're going to have to get this area clear. But now the police are taking off in a full sprint towards some people. There are definitely going to be some arrests happening right now. We're following as they're going through. They're chasing one man in particular. And they absolutely just tased him. They deployed a taser on him, and he is on the ground. And they are arresting that man as we speak. Hey, Adam, if you take a look over here to your right, you can see police are coming up behind these protesters, and it looks like they may have decided to start cornering them right now. So police are coming up this side. They can't go forward. They can't go back. They're going to have to decide whether they want to confront the police from both sides, whether they want to turn and run right now. But now it appears that this is the point where this is going to go down.
David Winter is live in Putnam County, where 18 people died, but thousands more survived. David, so 18 people, this was where the death toll was the highest, but 25 in the region, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, that's true. 25 total in Tennessee. 18 died just here in Putnam County, and several of them right here in Cookeville. I'm sitting in a home certainly where the people should have died. This home was lifted off of its foundation. It flew all the way across that field, hit the tree, blew into pieces. The couple that was inside, they were thrown another 20 yards uninjured. So many people died, but so many people survived. And for the people who did survive, now it's just a fight to get back to normal.
If one was gonna go, we were
interlocked, holding on. It wasn't gonna take one of us. We weren't gonna let it happen. It was gonna take all of us. It was gonna happen. If it was God's will, it was gonna take all of us.
But the tornado did not take the Williams. It spared them, but it did not spare their home.
It was like a freight train. Everything started coming in on us a little bit, walls shaking, and then all of a sudden the lights went on, off, and then water everywhere, wall ripped up. Sounded like a freight train coming in. Literally sounded like just a roar.
2 tours in Iraq, shot and hit by a car bomb. Charles Williams says this was the worst thing he'd ever seen. And now he says he's battling his insurance company.
My truck, I still owe like $35,000. They're only going to give like $19,000.
There's 5 of us in here, so yeah, it's a little cramped.
And like the Williams, the Kirkmans are also displaced, staying in a nearby motel and dealing with the scars of what happened.
Because he went outside and I said, do not die, Daddy. I really need you in my life.
Pure and utter chaos.
Tiffany Cook has it even worse.
There's 7 of us, and you don't have any privacy or personal space. Fighting for the bathroom. It's cramped, but at the end of the day, I think we're blessed to even be able to have a place to stay, because I know so many people do not.
Grabbed him, got him tucked under me and Tamara, between me and Tamara, and then I put my arms interlocked with her. She interlocked on him and just held on.
The bathroom where the Williams hid was the only thing left standing in their home. It may all be gone, but they are still thankful.
How did you guys survive?
Oh no, other than God. God put his hand on us.
I remember we were praying.
Emma was praying in the bathtub.
That's all we did. We were just holding
The whole time. I remember hearing everything. It was just, please God, please God.
But that's the only
God answered
explanation that we have.
And while some people have time to deal with this disaster, for others, it's right back on the hamster wheel. The woman that you just met, the woman who has 3 children, she says that she had just gotten off of a 12-hour shift. So much to deal with when you have to deal with all of this. Reporting live from Putnam County, David Winter, back to you.
And David, let me ask you this. CBS News was reporting earlier that in the rural counties in Tennessee that people got an alarm mainly from their cell phones, but not through the sirens. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. They said that about 30 seconds before the tornado hit, at least in this area, they received a notification on their phone. One man said, thankfully, he was able to have his phone on. If he had turned it off as he normally does at nighttime, he never would have gotten any warning at all, and he says that his whole family would have been killed.
I think this has a lot of us rethinking our own habits. Just thank you for those reports.
Continue our live team coverage. I'm going to send it to David Winter, who is live in Beaver Creek with a look at the damage and destruction there. David, good evening.
Good evening, Kyle. Scenes like this peppered throughout Beaver Creek. Look at this huge tree just ripped straight from its roots, and so much debris absolutely everywhere. Take a look at this construction debris. These are trusses, but I'm looking around and there's nothing like this anywhere. These might have come from a neighborhood perhaps a quarter mile down, and no electricity anywhere around here. And here's why. You can see down power lines. When the tornado came through, it took down one power pole and just ripped down all the others. You can see the police trying to keep people safe. But it's the neighborhoods that saw the real devastation. Roofs ripped right off of homes, homes blown right off of foundations. People throughout Beaver Creek, well, they all have a story to tell.
Tossed me around like I was a toy. It's crazy. I never seen anything like it, never experienced anything like it. I hope I never do again. My wife was already in the bathroom when the explosion happened at the back, and it pushed me down, and I knocked her down. And my wife grabbed her and pulled her into the bathroom here. And I came following in behind her. And of course, by then, all that wind was coming through here, debris. Once it was all over and I came out and I saw the front of the house, the roof was gone, the garage was gone, the front bedroom was gone. All the stuff that you accumulate over the years of your life is just gone. It's just, you know, it's hard to explain. I paid off the loan about, what was it, about 3 or 4 or 5 months ago? Yeah. And
well, this is all yours now.
It's all mine. I own it. I own this. Free and clear.
Free and clear. Couple of quick reflections. Amazing how many people we spoke with that still have a sense of humor after all this. Also amazing how many people have turned out to help. We saw one family, they pulled into the neighborhood with bags and bags from Target, water, food, just offering it to anyone in order to help. And of course, right now, job number one, get the electricity back up so these people can help themselves. Reporting live in Beaver Creek, David Winter. Back to you, Kyle and Trotwood.
All right, David, thank you so much for that live report.
Problems leading to fatal crashes. On the surface, it seems like it would be an easy problem to fix.
But as David Winter discovered, for truck drivers, it's far from simple. And for lawmakers, it's apparently pretty complicated.
Ask most of these truckers driving by, they will tell you it's their number one issue, and it's only getting worse. The lack of parking for truckers is forcing them to put themselves and others at risk. 3 times in the last 6 months in the Cincinnati area.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol investigates a deadly crash at a rest stop on I-75.
Cars rear-end semis parked on off-ramps. These are the images and the costs of a growing and deadly problem, a lack of parking for semis.
And take a look on all the off-ramps. It's trucks on all the off-ramps, man.
Cliff Brown is one of 3 million truckers in the U.S., a number expected to grow by 67% in the next 20 years. As the numbers grow, regulators are limiting driving hours to keep truckers from driving tired.
Most of these drivers, back in the old days, they would cheat a lot.
To do what?
To get more hours. They could run, they'd take pills and they would drive all night, 24 hours straight.
The feds now require electronic logging devices, or ELDs. Truckers are forced to take more breaks, longer breaks, and they cannot cheat because the ELDs keep them honest. When their time is up, they need to get off the road or face fines or termination.
And I've been doing this 15 years, and it's getting to where it's just a hassle.
Jess Cook says he's not tired, but he was about to go past his hours and had to stop.
Truck stops are getting to where they are getting full by 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening.
Forcing trucks to park on off-ramps, on-ramps, and on the shoulder. Ohio and Indiana have the second and third most truck parking in the country. But Ohio ranks 39th in space availability because so many trucks traverse the state. A study in Kentucky reveals nearly 90% of truck parking is in use at night. Is there enough parking in Ohio for truck drivers?
I don't think there will ever be enough.
The Ohio Department of Transportation recognizes the problem.
We haven't just sat back and said, well, truck drivers just got to figure it out. We've launched this system that helps them to plan ahead. We've added truck parking at this facility and a sister facility on the other side of I-71 here in Warren County.
The new rest areas add 24 new truck slots. ODOT also points to its mobile app allowing truckers to see rest area availability, which also ties into freeway displays. But these systems seem to illustrate the problem as opposed to solving it. This sign on I-75 shows 4 slots available for trucks at the next rest area, but when we pulled in about 2 minutes later, the slots were filled, and trucks were forced to pass through and park on the ramp. And perhaps the reason they are so willing to park on ramps, the truckers with whom we spoke say, the police in Ohio look the other way. We asked the Ohio State Highway Patrol about it.
I mean, every situation is different. If it's an imminent risk for safety, we're gonna have to move that truck.
Is every off-ramp an imminent safety risk, or are there safe off-ramps?
Well, so it depends.
Lieutenant Sellers says truckers need to plan ahead and park safely, but truckers say they cannot plan for stopped traffic or getting held up at a shipper or receiver. So what's the answer?
What's the answer? More parking.
I found 23 state and national studies over the past 20 years at a cost of tens of millions of dollars to taxpayers that all said the same thing: there is a lack of truck parking. I spoke with one trucker who said he could have told me that for free, and it's time to stop studying the problem and start fixing it. David Winter, Local 12 News.
And we spoke to the author of a yet-to-be-released U.S. Department of Transportation study.
A Wilmington couple charged with child endangering appear in court today, nearly a week after police removed their children from the home they call not suitable for humans.
Local 12's David Winter spoke with a Wilmington building inspector and the owner of the home this afternoon in a story you'll see only on Local 12.
Worst thing I've seen. Never in my life seen anything that bad.
Detective Scott Baker could not show his face today because of another assignment, but he was the first on scene Saturday when an anonymous caller alerted that children were living in squalor without heat or water. He found toddlers only in diapers, shivering, and absolute filth.
All the toilets were filled with human feces, and not only filled with it, it was just all over the seats, all over the entire toilet, just smeared down through there. And there were mounds of dog feces, rotted food on the counters, rotted food on the floors. It was just, nothing was ever cleaned, nothing was ever put away.
2 of the people living in the home appeared in court today charged with child endangering. 20-year-old Lisa Green and 21-year-old Kyle Seo are the parents of the toddlers found in the home.
We're here with Channel 12. We just wanted to ask you a quick question about the condition of the home.
The defendants would not speak with us, but the building inspector would.
And the first words out of my mouth were, oh my God, could we have done something here? I was extremely shocked, yes.
And could you have?
If I knew it, yes, I guess I could have, if I knew it. But I can't just barge into your home. It's private.
We obtained documents from the city that show the homeowner has been cited multiple times over the last 12 years for debris and dilapidation. We met with the owners this afternoon and asked about the lack of water and heat in the home.
They have had their water on, they just haven't been using it. So apparently they told the police there was a leak, and my husband and I are going to repair the leak of the water.
And the heat?
They said that they had someone that could fix it, and they told us how much it was going to cost, and we excused part of their rent, and to our knowledge, they were having it fixed.
Are you a slumlord?
No, sir.
Well, the toddlers are now with a foster family. The 2 teens who are also living in that home, they are now living with their grandparents nearby. And the emaciated dogs in the home, they're now with the SPCA. The defendants are all out on bond, and the police say they want their children back. Back to you.
Thank you, David. We'll continue to follow the story, of course, and police also say there may be more charges filed against the defendants as the investigation continues.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati Sunday, live on Local 12.
A stark warning from Mayor Cranley as bars and restaurants open in Cincinnati with crowds of people not social distancing. The coronavirus inspires Cincinnati's best musicians to resurrect what was created for the troops in World War II. We'll show you what they are creating. Good morning, everyone. Nice to have you here. I hope you've had a good Sunday morning. I also hope that you got your morning walk in or your run in, because if you did not, you're going to get wet this afternoon. Brad, just how soggy are people's shoes going to be getting today?
Well, some people are going to get real soggy, others not so much. We'll talk more about that in your full Weather Authority forecast coming up. David.
All right, thanks, Brad. We are suffering this morning from a first weekend of reopening bars and restaurants hangover. The Ohio Health Department allowing outdoor seating beginning Friday night, and it did not go smoothly for everybody. Now, Cincinnati's mayor is issuing a stern warning to those who did not comply with state-mandated social distancing. Have you seen the pictures making the rounds on social media? They show crowds of people at different bars in Cincinnati not social distancing. The Blind Pig on 3rd Street downtown, no exception. The Rosedale on 12th Street in OTR. It's also getting a lot of attention. Local 12's Alexa Hellwig talked to one of Rosedale's owners. He admits that there were moments when things did get out of hand.
As it got a little bit later into the night, we noticed that consumer behavior patterns definitely change. Sometimes they don't necessarily are able to read something. Sometimes they're, not standing right on the X as they should.
Rosedale says it has already made changes, not allowing people to order from the bar and removing some tables to allow more space between seated groups. Cincinnati Mayor John Cranley says that he met yesterday with the city manager, police, and the health department, and he says that they plan to have more health compliance teams out around town to make sure everyone is complying with state health directives. He says he can and he will shut down bars if they do not maintain standards. The Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and the Cincinnati Pops are debuting the first piece of music in a new series called The Fanfare Project. The music aims to inspire and uplift the community and the world in the midst of the pandemic. Local 12's Catherine Robinson reports from Music Hall to show us how the project is coming together.
Even the orchestra is isolated right now. Reporting from Music Hall, Catherine Robinson, Local 12 News.
All right, thanks, Catherine. The symphony played a live stream performance from Music Hall last night on what would have concluded the 125th anniversary season. The orchestra is working on more media and video projects to be released over the next few months. Well, they put their lives on the line in the battlefield, but now veterans' lives are in jeopardy at home. We investigate flaws in the veteran suicide hotline and what is or is not being done about it. That's tomorrow, only on Local 12 News, live at 11. We have new information this morning about a fatal police shooting in Claremont County. Police say that the officer fired her gun after her stun gun did not work on a man that she was trying to subdue. Police responded Thursday night to a disturbance on Buxton Road and Elick Lane in Union Township. The report says that Robert Tincher was yelling at cars and kicking signs. When the officer got to the scene, police say that Tincher confronted her with a knife and refused to put it down, and that's when she tried tasing him.
It did not have the desired effect. He continued to approach the officer. At that time, she discharged her firearm, hit the subject. He was transported to a local hospital, and he succumbed to his injuries.
Union Township police say that they've had past encounters with Tincher. The officer involved is now on leave, which is standard operating procedure in an officer-involved shooting like this.
All of a sudden, just a big explosion. It looked like a mushroom cloud of smoke. Fire just everywhere.
An explosion in downtown Los Angeles sets multiple buildings on fire and injures nearly a dozen first responders. Coming up on Good Morning Cincinnati Sunday, we will take you to the scene and you will hear from witnesses. Stick around, we'll be right back. Morning, about a dozen firefighters are injured in a massive fire in downtown Los Angeles. It happened at about 6:30 last night, California time. Multiple buildings catching fire after an explosion at a legal CBD hash oil operation. Firefighters ran for their lives as flames shot out of the building and even scorched a fire truck that was all the way across the street. Witnesses say that they were shocked by the amount of smoke and the size of the explosions.
We came out about a block away, but it felt like there were more after that.
11 firefighters were injured and at least 3 are currently in critical condition. The fire department says the place of the explosion is a business that makes butane honey oil. Butane is an odorless gas that easily ignites. It's used to extricate the chemical THC from cannabis, and that's what creates that highly potent oil. An explosion of a different kind due to the coronavirus, an explosion in the number of people going hungry. The economic toll from the pandemic has created the need for millions of meals. For the past month, through our Sinclair Cares program, you have helped fund a massive effort to help everyone get enough to eat. Here's a look at the total amount that is raised in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Just amazing. Elijah Westbrook shows us how donations are making a difference across the country.
Baltimore's Camden Yards, known for the loud echoes of cheering fans. In Baltimore, I'm Elijah Westbrook reporting.
Feels good. You know, when you're blessed, you have to bless other people.
A retired police officer giving people waiting in line at a food drive a huge surprise. His generous act. That's coming up next on Good Morning Cincinnati Sunday. And serving people in a very unexpected way. As Gina Esposito shows us, this retired Charlotte cop is doing a lot for people in need now that he's hung up his holster.
One by one, retired CMPD officer Benson Ratliff
who open their hearts out and help others.
From Local 12, the Weather Authority, this is Brad Mouseart's hour-by-hour forecast.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. We'll warm back up and clear back out for the start of next weekend. We'll be right back.
Letters to graduates on his route. Josh Crowell says that his daughter graduated high school in 2018, so the New Hampshire mail carrier knows commencement is an important rite of passage. When he saw graduation signs along his route, he wanted to honor the students who were missing out. Crowell began leaving graduates cards with handwritten notes and a Dunkin' Donuts gift card. He signs all of the cards, your mailman, Josh. I want Josh as a mailman. Fiona the hippo, look out. You're about to get some serious competition for the spotlight. For the first time in more than 30 years, an endangered pygmy hippo has been born at the San Diego Zoo. This little guy does not have a name yet, and he won't be little for long. He was 12 pounds when he was born Friday, but his weight has already more than doubled by today. The zoo says that he and his mom are doing well. Pygmy hippos live in the West African rivers and streams, but fewer than 2,500 of them remain in that natural habitat. A pygmy hippo, a little like a jumbo shrimp, I guess. All right, they were dancing in the streets last night in the city where the coronavirus pandemic began. Mass outdoor dances have been popular for years in Wuhan. With infections way down in the Chinese city, bans on gatherings have slowly been lifting. As you can see, even while dancing, they're managing to maintain social distancing. And of course, they're still wearing masks. You don't even know who you're dancing with. Could make for some awkward moments. And speaking of awkward moments, Brad Mouseheart is with us right now to ruin the rest of your Sunday. Brad, one last look at your lousy forecast.
Yeah, well, bad news, Brad. Into the 80s for the first half of next weekend. David.
All right, thanks, Brad. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay dry, stay healthy, and have a great weekend.